This is Rocket League. It's fast, exciting, and most importantly, fun. But there's one thing that it isn't. Easy. Rocket League is unique in that you can probably explain every mechanic to a new player in about 15 minutes, but in order to actually perform at a top level, takes hundreds if not thousands of hours. If you're anything like me, you have a burning desire to improve and rise through the ranks, but you might not know where to start. And if you're just starting out now, you're very late to the party. This game's been out for 5 years, and it can seem like there's no chance of catching up to the players that have honed their skills over the last half decade. But I'm here to tell you that it really is possible to catch up to those at the highest tier, and that's where this course comes into the picture. Being ranked Champ 1 puts you in the top 3% of people worldwide, and the average player will take 1,500 hours before they get there. But if you train using the correct methods, you can get there in a third of the time. I managed to go from a bronze player to a champ player in exactly 1 year, playing only an hour and a half every day, and you can too. Before we go any further, I want to let you guys know that I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/unsurpassablez. I play a ton of games like Rocket League, and we're always looking to have a good time, so I would really appreciate any support you want to show me over there. There's two main aspects to your gameplay that will determine what rank you are: your decision making and your mechanics. But what good is decision making if you can't actually make your car do what you're picturing in your head? Having a strong foundation of control is vital for improvement, but it takes time and practice to perfect. In this course, I'll be focusing on not only what the foundational mechanics are in Rocket League and how to perform them, but also in what order you should tackle learning them. But before we even hop into our first session of free play, we'll want to make sure that our controls and our settings are something that encourage better performance. On Rocket League, the default controls have a lot of room for improvement. The most notable issue is that your thumb has way too much to cover. By default, you have to cover jump, boost, and power slide, as well as focus on ball, all with your thumb. The way we're going to set up our controls will make it so that there is only one button that each finger is responsible for. I think this is one of the best controller schemes, and it does not require the use of paddles. I personally use an Xbox controller when I play, but I'll be putting the PlayStation 4 and Switch equivalents of the buttons that I'm mapping on the screen. Starting from the top, drive forwards and drive backwards are going to be the same, as are steer right and steer left. Jump is going to be A, but once we get to boost, we're going to change this to right bumper. Power slide is going to be left bumper, and air roll is also going to be left bumper. You'll only ever power slide when you're on the ground, and you'll only ever air roll when you're in the air, so both of these being bound to the same button doesn't have an impact. Focus on ball is going to remain the same, as is rear view. Air steer left and right, and pitch up and down are also going to stay the same. Air roll right we're going to change to B, and air roll left we're going to change to X. Skip replay is going to stay A. I like to change my scoreboard to select, and reset shot is going to be select as well. Use item will stay as in on the left stick. Everything else is going to be the same. For this control scheme to make sense, we're going to have to actually hold our controller differently. Most people will hold their controller in a way that they use their index fingers for both the triggers and the bumpers, but what we're actually going to do is we're going to use our middle fingers on the triggers and our index fingers on the bumpers. Now this may feel unnatural at first, but trust me, I have thousands of hours put into other games holding the controller the way that you're probably used to, and it took me about a week to get used to it on Rocket League. A common theme throughout this series is going to be pushing yourself through uncomfortable situations and building positive habits. So although this may not feel natural at first and you'd be tempted to switch back to your old controls, I'd really recommend that you stick with this and give it about a week and you'll probably be better than you were before. If you notice, this new control scheme will never have your thumb being responsible for more than one button at a time, which is going to be huge. On the default controls, you'd have to jump and boost, and it can be really difficult to do both of those at the same time, but now you'll be able to jump and boost with two different fingers. By having air roll left and air roll right bound to certain buttons as well, you'll be able to do things like tornado spin and half turn more easily. You can see by using the default camera controls just how close the camera is to your car. This can make it really difficult to see what's going on around you on the field, as well as maneuver accurately. Although there is no one correct answer for what the best camera settings are, I'm going to go through some of my recommendations for you. Typically, camera settings that keep the camera closer to your car are going to allow you to be more accurate with your shots, but having a camera that is further away with a wider field of view will allow you to see more of what's going on the field. Personally, I prefer the latter because as you practice you can get better with shooting, but you'll never be able to see more of the field the more you practice with closer camera settings. Whatever camera settings you settle on, please turn off camera shake. It is something left over from the precursor to Rocket League, and it makes it much more chaotic, and it really doesn't help at all. The settings I use are field of view up to 110, keep the distance at 270, and the height at 100. I make the angle -4, and I make the stiffness 0.45. The swivel speed is 4.20, and the transition speed is 1.7. I also turn off invert swivel. As in every game, the lower video settings that you have, the smoother your game is going to run. Prioritizing FPS will make your gaming experience more smooth and will make it easier to play, even if the game looks a little bit worse. I'm going to show you the settings that give you the greatest frame rates, although you can bump these settings up if you have a computer that can handle it. Turning vertical sync on will sync the refresh rate of the game with the refresh rate of your monitor as best as you can, and turning this setting on may reduce your overall frame rate, but it may make your experience feel smoother. You'll have to mess around with it. Within the basic settings, we'll keep anti-aliasing off, we'll change the render quality to high performance, and the render detail to performance. Doing this will change all of the stuff on the right to the highest performance available for you, but this has a minimal impact on your frame rate while making your game look significantly worse. And with all that said and done, we are set up and ready to start improving on Rocket League. Your journey to becoming a champion Rocket League player starts today, and I really highly encourage you to watch through these videos in order and give each one the time that it requires. You can't rush perfection, but by following along with this series, you'll see substantial results over a very short period of time. Of course, I stream on twitch.tv/unsurpassablez. If you ever have any questions or just want to hang out for a little bit, feel free to hop over there. I'd love to have you. That's all I got for right now, though, guys. Good luck practicing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.